Peranakans were Chinese and ancestral worship came from China. But the Peranakans improvised a little bit. We had our own commission style porcelain. We had the chenap, which is a prayer offering equipment, and voila, it became Peranakan.
What do you think it is that draws people towards Peranakan culture?
So I think Peranakan culture is a very easy culture to fall in love with. It's very colorful. It's for some, it's very romantic. It's about the Chinese immigrants coming to this part of the world and intermarrying local community is, to me, very relevant in today's world, where we see different cultures coming together and somehow having a lifestyle that is seamless.
This museum is such a beautiful collection of artifacts. What's your favorite thing here?
It was a pair of shoes that my grandmother had sewed for my mother. And so I tell my visitors, everything else money can buy. But the thing that belongs to the family is priceless. So for me, it has to be that pair of shoes.
Alvin's grandmother was determined to pass down a pair of shoes. I'm going to meet a group of people next who are trying to do the same with words.
Have you heard of Cristão? It's the language of the Portuguese Eurasians, a Creole, a mix of Portuguese and Malay. I'm half Eurasian, but I really don't know much about it. Maybe it's time I learn. Kevin, if I was in your class and I was your student and I'd never spoken Cristão before, what's the first thing that you would teach me how to say?
Oh, definitely. Hi, my name is Sovipi Tengbong Yosunomi Deborah.
Tengbong Yosunomi Deborah, that's Cristão.
Now, you might wonder, other races have their own mother tongue, but what about Eurasians? Well, it's Cristão, and it has pretty much been a forgotten language for the past few decades, at least until Kevin came into the picture.
No, you use forward in the same sentence. Cristão started in Malacca, where the rapping Portuguese intermarried with the locals. So then you got Portuguese Eurasians from that, and you got their mixed language.
And now you're trying to revive it
Yeah.
with your movement. What is it called?
Kodra Cristão means
Kodra
to,
Cristão.
yeah, to awaken Cristão.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Kodra Cristão.
Being a Eurasian, I've always spoken English and never knew about my mother tongue. And it would be nice to tell them that I have a mother tongue. In those days, I used to say Portuguese, but now I've learned it is actually Cristão. Jadana tres piu, tem tanto sangue. Kibos Jakumi isti an atadi?
Isti atari or anoti?
Isti atadi.
Isti atari, angkat sabi.
Kasabi. Onti anoti. Kantora bosja drumi.
Moto taju, cuma onziora.
Kifoi.
Kausa misti.
I know many Eurasians in my generation who are actually completely unaware about the language or the fact that their grandparents used to speak it. I think it's definitely important that people in my generation are educated about their culture and they at least know how to speak the language.
I'm really enjoying this lesson. I think my favorite word that I've learned so far today is Arcurius, which means rainbow. I'm going to go back to my lesson now.
Did you know that Cristão is also used in Eurasian dances? Say what? Yes, Eurasian dances. One of them is the Jinkli Nona, and it's usually performed at Eurasian weddings. I'll be honest, I don't know this dance, but hey, this is my chance to learn a bit more of my heritage.
So who taught you how to dance?
We learned it from our parents at parties. The Jinkli Nona is a love song and dance, and it's a must at most Eurasian weddings. It is the culture of the Eurasians, and it's been passed down from generation to generation. It would be a pity if we just didn't carry on with it. Well, we're hoping that the younger generation would come forward, like these young ladies have done, to carry on the tradition.
They did so amazing.
Would you like to try the dance?
Only if I can wear one of those outfits.
Okay, we'll try and get you one.
These colorful costumes are inspired by the traditional folk dancing gear from the region of Minho in Portugal. This is Shelly. She is going to be my dance partner.
Science fiction writer Terry Pratchett once said, if you don't know where you come from, then you don't know where you are. And if you don't know where you are, then you don't know where you're going. This is how I see the melting pot of all of the different races and cultures in Singapore. To be Singaporean means you can have your own distinct heritage and traditions, while at the same time being part of a more complex Singaporean soup, sharing a collective identity with all the other ethnicities on this sweet little island.
For more than half a century, climbers have risked their lives to conquer the world's highest mountain.
Ambition, arrogance, whatever reason, they're going to get to the top.
But in 2019, that dream turned into a nightmare.
पडायला सुरुवात झाली काही दिसत नव्हतं मध्ये एक दोन शेर्पा आणि ते अशी क्रॉस होताना दिसले म्हटलं शी इज माय वाईफ शी इज डाईंग प्लीज हेल्प
I started to realize so many things, honestly, like the amount of trash people leave on the mountainside.
Summit fever was choking Mount Everest, with disastrous consequences. This is the untold story of the 2019 tragedy that unfolded in the world's highest death zone. Watch A Deadly Ascent on demand at cna.asia.
Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, or Unity in Diversity, Indonesia's national motto. It's mind-boggling to think that Indonesia's founding fathers had the audacity to unite 500 ethnic groups across this huge archipelago. But it is precisely its diversity that made Indonesia what it is, rich in every sense of the word, and unique in many aspects.
This is Asia Now.
Hello, good morning. It's 8 a.m. in Singapore and Hong Kong, 5:30 in New Delhi, and 7 o'clock in Jakarta. I'm Shahida Othman. At this hour, a deal at last. Britain heads into a new chapter in its relationship with the European Union, ending months of negotiations and missed deadlines over tariffs, fishing rights, and business competition rules. The U.S. multi-billion-dollar relief package hangs in limbo after House Republicans blocked the Democrats' attempt to amend it, potentially bringing the government closer to a partial shutdown. Thousands of truck drivers in the UK could be spending Christmas stranded along the borders near France as a backlog to conduct rapid COVID-19 tests build up. The UK and and the European Union have finally reached a post-Brexit trade deal just 1 week before the year-end deadline. It follows months of disagreements over business competition rules and fishing rights. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson hailed the agreement as a good deal for the whole of Europe.
And so I'm very pleased to tell you this afternoon that we have completed the biggest trade deal yet, worth £660 billion a year, a deal that will protect jobs across this country, a deal that will allow goods, UK goods and components to be sold without tariffs and without quotas in the EU market.
Britain's opposition Labour Party chief Keir Starmer criticised the government for not delivering on the deal that was promised, describing the agreement as thin. But he says his party will accept and vote for it when Parliament is recalled next week.
But let me be absolutely clear and say directly to the government, up against no deal, we accept this deal. But the consequences of it are yours, and yours alone. And we will hold you to account for it every second you're in power.
Now, the UK and the EU agreed on the deal just 7 days before Britain's official exit from the bloc's trading rules. Ollie Barrett in London has more on what the deal entails.
4.5 years after Britain voted to leave the European Union, Brexit has taken place, and now there is a trade deal between the UK and the EU as well, and just in time ahead of the December the 31st end to the Brexit transition period. If no deal had been in place, that would have meant that Britain would have traded on World Trade Organization terms with the EU from January the 1st, with all the extra barriers to trade and tariffs that would have come with it. So many in the business community are welcoming the fact that there is a deal. It's a huge political triumph for Boris Johnson. Make no mistake, this is a man who fought the